The Lumix 12-60 was released back in 2016, and I mean, it's still available as an option if you buy the G9 Mark II today as a kit lens. I picked mine up when I bought my original G9. I'm gonna be honest, it rarely is just sat on a shelf. It's normally on a camera body of some sort. 12-60 gives us the equivalent reach as a 24mm to a 120mm on a full frame system. That's really versatile. Our aperture varies from f3.5 to f5.6, but I'm gonna be honest, anything past like 40mm is just f5.6. Panasonic rate this lens as splash proof. Now, I've had it out in what is a lot more than splashes. Just last week, I was out in Carrick-on-Shannon. I had the G9 Mark II and I had the 12-60 on it. And I was just wandering around. I got caught in quite a torrential shower. Camera and lens soaked, but both are fine. I've had no issues with moisture in the lens, but then again, I tend to look after my gear if it does get wet. What I do is, camera gets wet, I dry it as much as I can with like a hoodie or a towel. And then as soon as I'm home, it goes next to a dehumidifier. Construction is primarily plastic, but the lens mount itself is metal. And for all its plastic construction, it feels solid. Do you know what I mean? They'd advertise it more as a polymer than a plastic, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it feels good quality, it's kind of cool to the touch, and it feels hefty in the hand, which I think gives the impression of good quality at the very least. It weighs a total of 210 grams. So it's not the lightest lens I own by any means, but then again, it's not the smallest lens I own by any means. Design-wise, I think the lens is pretty understated. If you have it on a G9 or a G9 Mark II, it just kind of looks like it was made for it because, you know, kind of was. And even on something like this GX8, which is a rangefinder style body, which I think look better with a small prime, it still doesn't look too out of place. I know the looks of a lens aren't super important, but for me, if I see a camera on a shelf and it looks cool, I'm kind of inspired to go out and shoot with it. We do have a lens hood. I keep it on pretty much all the time. I normally have it like in use in case I drop the lens, and I have dropped it. It has survived completely fine, but it does reverse back onto the lens if you don't want to have it, you know, taking up too much space in a camera bag. The zoom and focus rings are nice and smooth, and considering I've had this to the beach quite a few times, as well as in a camera bag that's been, you know, not full of sand, but has a bit of sand in it, I think is a testament to the sealing. The filter thread on the front of the lens is 58mm as well, which is a pretty standard filter thread. Like, you'll find any filter available in 58mm. Image quality is pretty important, I guess. And I'm gonna be honest, I've had no problems with image quality out of this lens at any focal length, at any aperture. Yeah, it's a bit sharper if you stop down a bit, but it's not like soft when it's wide open. Kind of odd to refer to it as wide open when it's at like f5.6 fully extended. There's a tiny bit of softness in the corner sometimes, but I'm gonna be honest, unless you're shooting pictures of a brick wall, you're not gonna notice that. And how many times do you take a picture of a brick wall? And obviously you're not buying an f3.5 to f5.6 micro four thirds lens to get nice creamy backgrounds. But I will say that you can actually focus quite close to your subject. I'm gonna do a bit of wandering around and try and get pictures of where I am today to like splice into the video. So I'll show this off. You can get macro-like images with this lens. And just because of physics, if you are super close to your subject and your subject is far from the background, you're gonna get a blurry background. And for me, that's a plus because I can get close to my subject and just capture like kind of intimate detail shots of things. And I've also not noticed any chromatic aberration. I'm sure on a day like today with a gray sky and leaves in front of it, I could probably make some if I were to shoot a really high contrast scene. But it's nothing I've noticed in day-to-day use or when printing or when like pixel peeping. Focusing wise, this lens is the standard that I compare other lenses to. It's quick and snappy, it's silent as well, the autofocus, and focusing for video is equally great. Back before this was a photography focused channel, I would film with my G9 original and the 12-60, and I think any issues with focus were more the G9 Mark I not having great autofocus for video. So on the note of video, we do have stabilization in this lens. We have Panasonic's Power Optical Image Stabilization, and it works pretty great. And if you combine it with a body that has the dual image stabilization, particularly in video, you get really smooth shots. I'll stick some B-roll up now of the G9 II with this lens. And also just for stills, I quite like having, you know, stabilization because then you can get handheld long exposures and that kind of stuff. I was at Tormakeady Waterfall quite a while ago, and I had, I believe it was my G9 Mark I and this lens, and I got, I think it was like a 2-second exposure handheld. Just great stuff, absolutely great stuff. We can manually focus as well. We have a manual focus ring on the lens. I don't manually focus all that much unless I'm using like a vintage lens or if I'm in a very difficult environment for a lens to focus in. But the option is there. It's relatively smooth, but it's electronic, so you're really only telling the camera to focus the lens as opposed to actually moving elements yourself. For me, this is the jack of all trades lens. Landscapes, yeah, it's weather sealed, it's relatively small, you've got super versatile focal lengths. Street, not my first choice. I prefer a prime lens for shooting street, but yeah, it works. I went to the Lake District just over a year ago, and this is the lens I brought with me. and all the pictures I took there are taken with this lens. I do think the 14-140 by Panasonic might be a better option for travel, but I don't know. I'll have to get one and try it out. For everyday carry, I also think it's a great option. I paired this with my EM5 Mark II for quite a while, and that was my setup for ages, just for taking stills when I was out and about. I mean, it worked pretty great. It was weather sealed. I do think the 12-60 is just a really nice, versatile range. Let's talk pros and cons. So, like I just said, the 12-60 focal range, I think, is a great pro. It's super versatile, and like, you can get kind of wide, you can get kind of long. And if you're shooting on an older Micro Four Thirds body that doesn't have a stabilized sensor, being able to use the actual stabilization in the lens, I don't know, I quite like it. Weather sealing, I know I say this in nearly every video, but I live in Ireland. It rains a lot. I'm kind of lucky so far, but I'm under a few trees just in case. I don't know, I kind of like the idea that if I'm out and about, my gear can get wet and it's not the end of the world. And my last pro is affordability. You can find these on the used market from anywhere for about 230 to 270 euro, depending on their condition. And you can get them as a kit lens when you buy a G9 II. Because they're included as a kit lens, there's quite a few of them on the used market. For all its F3.5 to 5.6, it turns into 5.6 at 40mm. So that's an extra 20 millimeters then at the long end that, like, it is at f5.6. So not great for shooting moving subjects in low light, because yeah, you can use your stabilization to keep the shutter open for longer and not have to raise your ISO, but if you have anything moving in the scene, well, you know, you're just gonna get blur. It's not a massive con as well, but the lens does trombone out of it. I know for some street photographers that's a pretty big con. For me, I don't really mind it. It's just a bit of a compromise of having such a, like, range of focal lengths in such a small little lens. It's just to be expected, but I know for some people it is genuinely a con. Let's talk about other lenses. I think the first one I should mention is the Lumix Leica 12-60. It's kind of the, like, pro version of this lens, if you will. It goes from, I believe it's f2.8 to f4. There's of course the Olympus counterparts, I believe it's 12-50. I'm gonna be honest, the difference between 50mm and 60mm is not a lot. I'll show some photos of, like, something taken at 50mm and something taken at 60mm, and you can see for yourself. I think you can find the Olympus version slightly cheaper. And if you want extra reach, well then, like I mentioned, there's the Lumix 14-140, and Olympus do also have the 12-200, which is, that's a pretty versatile lens right there. So as it stands, a third of my Lightroom library was taken with this lens. Now that's including unedited images and, like, pictures of my hand at the start and ends of panoramas. I think it just goes to show how much use this lens gets from me. It's not my favorite lens either. I think that honor still goes to the 45mm f1.8 by Olympus. I think I am starting to prefer prime lenses. Like, there's a lot to be said for limiting yourself, but also if you're in an unpredictable environment, then, you know. I did make a video on this lens a while ago, but I'll be honest, the channel wasn't really photography focused back then, and I've used a lot more lenses since then that I can kind of compare this to and just talk about. Anyway, I want to say thank you very much for watching. With my reviews, I try to talk about what it's actually like to use the equipment rather than just what it says on the back of the box. If that's something that you think might be interesting, then maybe consider subscribing. I have quite a few lenses and camera bodies I still want to review, and the G9 Mark II is going to get its full review at some point. Thank you very much for watching. Slán.